Hey, what's up, nerds? It is Paul at Radio Free Hammer Hall, joined today by Josh over there and Tom down there. We are doing the DADHAMMER podcast show. I don't know what we're calling this exactly yet. So, yeah, I've been meaning to do this for like a long time. I think this has been in my brain for more than a year at this point. And the funny story is that dad stuff actually has been a lot of what's been getting in the way of it, trying to coordinate things with like other dads and having my own time around kid stuff and all of that. So life gets complicated, and we eventually figured it out and made it happen. Since this is the first show in what I hope ends up being a decent series of this, basically what we're going to do, I think I'm going to aim for like every other week on a Thursday night at this time. I've got a whole bunch of people that will be like guest hosts with me. And it's kind of like whoever's available when we're going to do the show, so that we're not necessarily getting any one person to commit to being here for every show except myself, but I can make that happen. And we're going to talk about Warhammer and hobby stuff and dad stuff. The stereotype is that like, Warhammer players on average are like a 30-something dad.
Wow.
And I did a little survey recently and found that if anything, it just skews a little bit older than that. But the number of respondents that were like, "Yup, I'm 37-year-old dad. I'm a 42-year-old dad." It was like everybody. So this is going to be a show by dads for dads doing gaming and stuff. Exact format we're gonna nail down over time as we experiment with stuff. And today we got thrown kind of a curveball because after we had scheduled this and set everything up, Games Workshop decided that they were going to drop a preview show at the exact same time that we were going to do this. So once that gets kicked off, we're going to have that playing and maybe listen into some of that as it happens. I think it's supposed to just basically be previewing new models. So that is, just having that up on screen will probably be enough, and we can talk about it and whatever. So, so let's just do quick introductions. Josh, you have been on the channel before. If you would just kind of care to chat about yourself a little bit.
I'm Josh. I have a dad of two. I like corn. Corn's my favorite. And I try to play Warhammer as hard as I can, but I mostly at this point it is running GTs and hobbying and pretending like someday I'm going to play Warhammer.
Oh man, I feel that hard. I realized the other day, I like sat down and figured it out. I'm like, since the beginning of COVID, I think I've been to like 10 conventions /GTs, and I can count on one hand the number of like casual games with friends that I have played.
I will say though, like this new edition has me so psyched to play Warhammer that like I might like try extra hard to get time to play. I don't know how I'll do it. I'll call all the grandparents, book all the babysitters, do whatever I can. But this new edition has me so amped. I can't wait.
Yeah. All right, so Tom, let's talk about you a little bit, buddy.
Hey, so I'm Tom. I have two young boys, and they're my children, age 6 and 4. And I do more painting than playing. I sign up for a lot of things. I don't show up to a lot of things. I go to tournaments sometimes. Just it's like high school. You show up one day and then you don't go to first period. That's me at a lot of events. So I'd like the social aspect of it more than anything. And I have a great wife who allows me to get out of the house anytime that I want. So that's not a restriction. but it could be another man. I don't know. It's one of those things. I'm not real sure what's going on there. She constantly wants me out of the house, and my kids are taken care of. That's all that matters. So, that's basically me in a nutshell. I chase meta, not very successfully, but I'm usually a couple months behind it, and I just love to paint armies.
Nice.
Someday you'll own them all. You won't have to chase anymore. It'll just be this like,
right?
I guess I'm playing this army.
Yeah.
This month.
Yeah, once you have all of the armies, then you just pull one off the shelf and you got the meta thing.
You're like Thanos.
I'm a big buy sell trade group guy too. So, if I get tired of something, it goes just so I can bring in something else.
Yeah.
Just for shelf space. I just don't have any place to put them. It just I post up, and I have a paint shop downstairs, but I post up in the living room most of the time so I can be with my family while I'm doing the hobby.
Yeah. I do the same thing. It looks like we're actually getting started on preview show. I'm just going to throw it up on the screen. And when they start actually telling us or doing anything, look at these guys. Such snappy dressers.
They're not dads.
Clearly.
Maybe,
What's with the Hawaiian shirt with the jacket over the Hawaiian shirt?
Must be a British thing. Got to be a British thing.
It's something.
They do look good though. Is this in England or is this?
I think they're in the UK, but for some reason they're on like East Coast time or not East Coast. They're on Central time for this one, which is weird. Anyway, for myself, I've got 2 kids. My daughter is 9. My son is going to be turning 5 next week. So that's fun. Got a little birthday party this weekend, doing like a big bounce house park type thing that I didn't even know was a thing, but now we're seeing Adepticon replays, I guess. Nothing yet, guys. So yeah, a recent thing that I have discovered is bring your family with you to an event. That gets you to more events. I'm actually doing that for Nova this year. Whole family's coming down. I actually have my buddy that got me into Warhammer to begin with is going down, and he's playing in one of the Kings of War GTs, and he's bringing his family down. So they're like, all the families are going to go do like Washington DC tourist stuff, and I'm going to be playing Warhammer. He's going to be playing Kings of War, which I realized recently that I can probably get into that too. But hey, that's an entirely different subject. So
do they just kind of like leave you to do your own thing, and they just experience their own separate vacation on the side, or do you like?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I did for what's the one in January? Golden Sprue. Like they came with me to Golden Sprue, and they just went, and my wife found kids activities. They went to some cave or something up there.
Okay.
And
House Caverns.
Yeah, probably.
Yep. Yeah.
I think they went to some kind of like children's museum or something. They just had a good time, and we hung out, and that was about it. Like we basically like drove in and drove back together, and they had fun doing their thing, and I played Warhammer. And then my daughter was very, very disappointed with you, Josh, that game Keepy Uppy did not happen.
That wasn't even my choice. I think what happened is everyone just got so drunk.
Yeah.
That like Keepy Uppy just never happened.
Well, in the trivia just kept going.
Yeah, it kept going, and like everyone just wanted to go to bed, and so like I think that Evan had just planned way too much cool shit, and then like it just I don't know. Megadad, what area of the United States do you live in?
I live northeast of Baltimore. Not northeast Baltimore, but north. I live in the suburbs of Baltimore. So like Nova's only an hour and 20 minutes from me. ACO, which I'm going to in June, is like 2 hours from me.
Okay, so that's like 5 or 6 hours from us, isn't it?
Yeah.
In Albany?
You guys are up, yeah. Yeah, so I think so, because I was looking at Golden Sprue and a couple other tournaments up that way, and it just never materialized.
Yeah, Golden Sprue it's turning into something real. I think I think last year it really solidified the I don't know, it just everybody that went had a great time, and they're going to tell everybody about it, and next year's going to be huge. We're going to have 40K too, so
Nice.
Oh,
should be awesome.
yeah. So I think the GW stream died, by the way, because this is a replay of this year's Adepticon 40K stuff. So, and like they're no longer online. So their stream shit the bed. But we're still here.
Yep.
So yeah.
There's something at us, Paul.
Yeah.
Either you guys going to ACL?
But you knew that already.
That's right, because we're rooming together. I forgot.
Yes.
Paul's like, I hope.
I honestly forgot that.
You better not back out.
Yeah, no, my bad. No, that one, which I've always wanted to go to LVO, but with my personality and mental disorders, gambling's an issue.
Oh,
so ACO, you just don't take any cash.
Okay.
You know, so but yeah, no, I went past 2 years and had a blast.
Yeah, and that casino
You sound like a good time.
Yeah,
I'm not walking that far to go put money in a slot machine or something. Like, yeah, and I love playing craps, and I am not going to go find a craps table because it's just too far away.
Yeah. If they have it set up where it was before, it'll be. You have to, like, the first day, everybody was like congregating around the one bar, and then you had to walk to the event, and then you didn't have to see the casino unless you wanted to eat. You know.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. What I really like about ACO is just the size of the venue for how many people are there. They have the tables so nicely spread out. I feel like I can breathe better there than any other event I've ever been to.
At ACO?
Yeah.
Have you been to the Salt City GT? There's pretty spread out too. I was wondering if it's similar.
So what they did last year, the first year that I went there was like right after COVID stuff came back online. So they had like every table was separate, right? So you could walk all the way around every table.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's how it is at Salt City. It's almost
last
like
year they did 2 tables next to each other and then a gap and then 2 tables.
Okay.
So, I mean, for an event that size, that's like 100-person AOS GT, like a 200-person 40K GT, like that's a ton of space. Like the ballroom is enormous.
Yeah, it's part of the trouble just like running GTs is the cost per player per square foot, and like trying to offset that. And like if they can manage to do that, man, that's either they're getting a really good deal or they're doing exceptionally well with their vendors.
Yeah. So hobby stuff, Josh, what have you been up to hobby wise? I know you had that bloodthirster situation.
Yes, so I've recently painted, and I can post pictures of this guy, but he's it's hard to see him here. He's all non-metallic metal, lots of really cool contrasting colors from like purple to yellow in the skin tones, and green to red with the armor to the skin. Lots of really interesting color combinations on this model. I ended up sending it to a competition at the art store in Syracuse that was hosted by Hiawatha, and I ended up winning because of my color choices, actually, which was unusual because most of the time, like, people are focused on like, oh, look at that painting technique, or look at this, or look at that. There were some models that are there that I was like, oh my god, they're gonna beat me, but like it was judged by like portrait painters and like people that you wouldn't they weren't Warhammer or miniature model judges. So what they ended up liking about my model was like the color choices, and in addition, it was reasonably well painted. So I won an airbrush, and I got this like Iwata paint kit, and like these paints are kind of the equivalent of the Acrylic Pro transparent line. They're an airbrush paint. So I'm looking forward to trying out those. One thing I will say as a hobby dad is, and I think a lot of people get caught in like the Citadel and Warhammer lines for paint products, but like try all sorts of stuff. There's so many cool art products out there. So I can't wait to try these paints. But one of my favorite paints for just miniature painting is Golden paints. Golden is just an awesome brand that I've recently started to use. Their white is especially good. They're so flat white, but they're primarily paints that are used for painting pictures and portraits. So definitely try out like different products. It's been wildly successful for me.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I've been like, I recently just moved my painting space into a different room. I'm not in my basement anymore for painting. And so when I moved all of my stuff, I like redid how I was organizing my paints. And other than like a select few colors and like the regular Citadel line, I didn't even bother putting up on the rack. Like I've got all like the whole Pro Acryl line, the whole 2 thin coats, and then like contrasts and shades from Citadel.
Yeah,
and
contrasts are good.
Then like some technical stuff. And that's about it. Like, I feel like I don't really need much else. Although I will constantly keep buying more paint because
it goes bad.
No,
the Citadel paint.
Oh yeah, the Citadel paint is just going in the trash can after not long. Oh god.
I found a mouse in my Citadel paint box that had made a home because I hadn't used it in so long. I caught a mouse. I'll find a picture of the mouse while we're waiting, and I'll
funny.
Send it to you.
Wow. All right, so Tom, what have you been doing lately for hobby stuff?
So I went to a GT this past weekend, bounced after 2 games, so I quit Age of Sigmar on Saturday, and then Sunday I bought the chaos, not the chaos, the Space Dwarves, the League of Votan kill team and a Blood Bowl team, and then I decided to get back into Sigmar on Monday.
Wow.
And so, but I figured since I bought it, I might as well be painting it. I don't have anything going on right now, so I've just been painting little dwarves and some Norse Blood Bowl team.
Nice.
And because interestingly enough, like our little small town, there's like 35 players in the Blood Bowl League, and it's the most popular game at the store. And like they travel to tournaments and everything, and we're just in BFE Maryland, and it's pretty interesting. I did a couple years ago, and I wanted to get back into it. On Sunday, I wanted to get back into it, and then my wife was like, what about ACO and Nova? I'm like, well, yeah, I guess, but a whole new edition will be for Nova, so we'll see what's what. But that's what I've been doing. Working on my board for ACO a little bit because I didn't finish it up with the GT this past weekend.
What GT was it?
It was called the Really, Really Good GT in Westminster, Maryland, at Tables and Towers. 2 clubs put it on. Team Duck is something. I don't know. The best player from the previous tournament wears a duck hat. So
Nice.
I'm off of, my memory sucks. So Big Chungus was the other one. Big Chungus and Duckus Suckus or something. Yeah, they're good people. Ducks of the Golden Knights of the Duck Pond, or it's something like that. Knights of the Pond. That's what it is. But they have a duck hat.
That's awesome.
But they give really cool trophies because I got 2 GTs ago. I got best painted and won a duck with a shield and a sword as my trophy, and that was pretty badass. So they give really cool trophies and everything, but I just wasn't feeling it Saturday.
Oh, I want to see some of your painting.
Oh, it's terrible.
If you won best paint, it's got to be reasonable, right?
No,
Like,
I win best. I
down
win
there.
best paint. Look, so 2 years ago at ACO, I won Player's Choice, and that was because of my conversions of my Gargants. I had a set of horror Gargants, and that went over big. And I used that same army at the GT 3 months ago and won the best painted again. So I'm just recycling one good idea.
Were you the guy that made the Eldritch
Yes.
Gargants? I loved those. Those
Thank
were
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Those were
So
sick. And now you've been working on like Titans for 40K too, right?
Yeah. So I got a Warhound, and I always wanted a Warhound, so I bought one, and I made it Nurgle. I found a Chaos Warhound on eBay, Nurgled it up, and it took like a month to do, and that was a lot of fun. In my painting, I always do lots of rust, lots of verdigris, just to hide the effects. My hands shake when I paint, so I just cover it in shit, and it makes it look better.
It's a
So
style.
it actually might. Let's see. I don't know if this guy will show up, but that is little dwarf guy. I have a terrible camera. I realize. I thought it was my eyes, but it's not. Wow.
You never know anymore now that you're a dad.
Yeah. Well, so I usually wear glasses, and I don't know where the hell they are. My kids were playing with them, and I don't know where they went. And so, like, I'm looking at myself here. I got like a little Forrest Whitaker eye, and it's usually like covered up with my glasses. But I'm like, I look like hell. And this is my first online experience, and this is just whatever. But, so if the kids went to bed, and so hopefully my wife will find them.
I always have to take mine off when I'm like streaming because I get such bad glare off of my glasses from the lights, and I can't deal with it. And my eyes are good enough that I just get a little bit of eye strain if I don't have my glasses on for a while and I'm looking at stuff. So I'm fine. I'll survive. So for my own hobby stuff, I have been absolutely motoring through my army for the old world. Been working on Warriors of Chaos. I have an absolutely crazy number of points painted up already. I have several thousand points painted already. And it's partly because I'm going with like a relatively easy color scheme. It's basically just let me see if I can grab a decent looking one that's like right here at my desk. This guy's still in process, but like just basically like black armor and gold trim, some kind of like dark reds and browns for any fabrics, and the thing that I'm trying to make pop out, you can see it on this guy here, is doing like glowing icons on banners, glowing eyes in all of the helmets, just kind of make them all look like possessed. Like I'm trying to have virtually nothing in the army have like exposed faces. So they're all just like, they look like they're practically like empty suits with like glowing eyes. Like demonic possession is kind of what I'm going for. And I've been finding Old World is actually really fun to hobby with because so many of the models just don't exist. So you are forced to convert stuff. So yeah, and that's been a lot of fun. I actually also just finished a Blood Bowl team that I've had for a long time. Let me see if I can grab one. I think it's like virtually in arm's reach. So yeah, just was really just kind of like playing with color. Did like some purpley fabric and like teal, greenish, jadish sort of armor color. Relatively simple on the fabric, or not the fabric, on the skin tone and stuff. So that was just a fun paint job. I've been like, I don't know, I played like the Blood Bowl video games a lot, and it would be nice to actually get on the tabletop and play it that way. Because that seems like that would be a lot of fun. I haven't actually had a chance to do it yet, but I mean, it's the same game as the video game, basically.
Oh, so they're like one for one?
Almost exactly. It is a board game played on a computer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. But apparently it's better than other renditions of like board games played on the computer. Like I didn't think Underworlds took off very well, for example.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know on that one.
I think the problem with Underworlds is you have to get the cards from the different sets and build your deck, and that I don't know, building decks and shit is not for me. I played Underworlds when it first came out, and I was like, oh, this is all right. And then it's like 4 models. But then the next tournament, everybody had like every deck, every card from everything. I'm like, what is this going on? So, not a fan of Underworlds myself. That has a big following around here too. Maybe these hillbillies just like shitty games. I don't know.
Gee, hot take there. Underworlds is shitty. I like Underworlds, but mostly because of the war bands that you can play in Age of Sigmar. I think it's just kind of a cool little here. Or you know what I love about them is I don't own Seraphim. I don't have a Seraphim army, but I painted the Seraphim war band. Yeah, big sexies. Exactly. You buy them just to have like a little taste of that army. I don't know. That's why I like them. The game does suck, I think.
Yeah, I have multiple Underworld's warbands, and I have never played the game. I've got the Nurgle one. I've got one of the Slaves to Darkness ones. Skaven. I feel like I might have something else too.
The new Skaven one?
Not the newest Skaven one. The Eshin one I have.
Yeah, I think that's is that the one with the guy with the spear, or that is the?
It's the one with the guy that's like up on a pipe, like about to pounce with a knife.
Yes, yeah, I painted him too. Yeah, that was a fun kit.
Yeah, it's a great kit. Yeah, I think that's the great thing that has come out of Underworlds is that the models are awesome, and I just have been, if they're usable for something good in AOS, then I use them in AOS, and if not, like the Slaves to Darkness one, it's just going to be old world unit champions and like characters and stuff because they look cool. That's it.
They're discontinuing that Kygra's whatever's.
Yeah. The day that they announced that it was getting discontinued, I jumped on eBay and bought one before the prices went up.
Oh, so you think everything's going to go skyrocketing for all these like unique kits?
Yes.
Is it already?
I don't know. I haven't checked, but typically what happens is if they're good models and they are out of print, they will eventually start going up a lot.
Okay.
So
I definitely want to pick up some copies of the Spire Tyrants.
Yeah.
Oh shit, they are so expensive now.
They're already the good kits are already really expensive. Everybody was using like Spire Tyrants, Dark Oath Savagers, and a couple of others for like better Marauders until we got the new Marauder kits this week. So
whoa,
and those new Marauders are sick. I was just putting those together today. Those are great models.
Individual characters in like models are selling for $13 a piece.
Yep.
That's nuts. Like they're cutting them off the sprues and selling them on sprue $13 a piece on eBay. And there are watchers, and this guy sold 42 already.
Jesus Christ.
I was like, I have 4 boxes of these guys because I thought they were so cool. I'm going to use them for what are they called? Blood Reavers, because I don't like the Blood Reaver kit. But man, that is wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. Dude, I don't know what's going on with this GW stream because it's still offline. I'm looking on their like the Facebook feed. So it's not like they're posting their videos up on Facebook as they usually do, like the little clips. I'm not seeing any of that. And I'm on Twitter. There's nothing popping up on Twitter anywhere. Yeah, hold on. Let me try searching. Warhammer official. Did they have anything to say? Nope. Last post was 10 hours ago. Anybody in the chat know what the heck is going on with the GW stream? It was supposed to be at 8, and it's not 8.
Are we sure it was today?
Yeah. They were just live with it a couple of minutes ago, and then it cut out.
This the Mortal Realms Reforged preview show is in 6 days, 23 hours. It's next week.
What? That's weird.
On the Warhammer community page.
Did I completely screw this up?
Cool, man.
Awesome. Cool.
Back to a regularly scheduled program, I guess.
Yeah, I'm apparently an idiot. Hold on. Let me find this. There's got to be something on their Twitter.
There's a big ass banner on Warhammer Community. It's a countdown clock for next Thursday.
It's next week. God, I am done. My brain is fried.
It's your dad brain.
I apologize.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was today, why I thought it was at the same time. So,
well, let's pivot. We're dads. We're good at that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Let's just make this shit happen. So, let's go into the next segment of something to make the show a little bit unique. Dad wins of the week. Let's start off with Tom this time. You're over there.
So, all right, it's gonna be a little interesting, a little morbid. My wife's grandmother passed away last week, and we had to go to our first funeral and church service with our 2 kids. My oldest boy will be 7 in August, and my youngest boy will be 5 in the end of the month. So I was scared to death that it was just going to be hell. There would be hell on wheels in church. I just imagine the priest, smacking us with the crucifix and just telling us to get out. And so I didn't know what to do. So anyway, we go up there. It's about a 2-hour drive. Kids were great. Had their iPads in the car. Didn't really use them that much. They shared one. Had the cords and everything. I was ready to rock.
Nice.
We get there, and immediately my oldest boy, who's very empathetic, was like hugging my wife's mom. So it was my wife's mom's mother who passed. Hugging her, wiping tears from her eyes, just like complete rock star. And my 5-year-old was just sort of bouncing around a little bit. And I said, hey, go give Nana a hug. And he did. And then they were like good as gold.
Nice.
And it was like everything, like they were reading. My oldest one was reading the hymns and everything, singing along. And it was just, I was like, what is going on here? Because this is not how I pictured it.
You're in the realm of chaos.
Yeah, because you prepare yourself as a parent. You prepare yourself for like the worst possible scenarios with these things or at any event, really. And then you realize that you might be doing okay because your kids out in public are doing a pretty good job. They're saying yes, sir, yes, ma'am, thank you, yes, please. Holding doors, and I'm like, my kid doesn't do any of that shit at home. Like, what? Like his teachers are like, wow, Carl's so polite. I'm like, my Carl? Like my boy? The one that kicks the shit out of his brother from the time he gets home to the time he goes to bed? Like, what is going on? And so it's a true blessing. I swear to God, it's like, dad and mom, they just switch. Their mother in public, and that's great. And not that I'm an asshole all the time, but I'm pretty much an asshole all the time. And so my kids know that, and it rubs off on them. So yes, that was my big parenting win. And like I came back, and I was like, "We're going to Target. And we're going to get you something because you were so good." So we wound up getting Mario stuffies and a Squirtle, life-size Squirtle,
Nice.
For them, and just I don't like I give my kids a lot of things. But they didn't understand why. And the reason they didn't understand why it was like made me feel better because they didn't realize that my expectations were so low that anything above, getting kicked out of church, it was a win to me. And they just knocked it out of the park. So, and my wife was very happy with it. And it was just a great, it was a sad day, but it was a win for the kids and the family. And my wife's mother was all, very emotional about how good they were and everything. So,
Awesome.
I must be doing something right. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's my wife's disciplining them and everything when I'm not here. I'm in tournaments. She's teaching them
clearly the Warhammer.
Yeah. Just go play.
You're not there to be a bad influence,
right? Yeah, raise the children while you're gone. So
nice. That is that's a pretty awesome one. Love it.
It's wholesome.
So what you got going on, Josh? What do you got for dad wins recently?
I just thinking about the behavior of my son today, and my wife feeds him some rice. Here, have some rice. He's gluten free, so he eats a lot of rice. And then he tries to feed her back, but she doesn't eat the whole thing. And so he takes it and he pitches it right at her chest. And I'm like, go to your room. And he's like, no, it's mommy's turn. And then he gets down. He looks at me. He stomps his feet. He's 2 years old. And he stomps down the hallway and just slams his bedroom door. And me and my wife just look at each other and start laughing. It's just, I know what you mean when you say these kids, it's like when they do something right, like they can go from that and then be awesome. But in terms of like Warhammer dad related wins, Paul, I sent some pictures of the race car that I painted for my son. But I went to Walmart with my son, and he saw this car, and he sees me painting all the time, and I really want him to like be attracted to like the Warhammer hobby and like just painting in general. And he looks at me and he's like, Dad, I want that car, and I want you to paint it purple. And like verbatim, and he's 2 years old, so like when he says this stuff, I'm like, he's like super smart. I can't believe he's like forming these full sentences and like articulating thoughts at 2. And I'm like, you know what? You said all that crap, so I'm going to do it. And A, I'm going to do it because like, I love him and I want to do it. But B, like, I'm like, this is my opportunity to like teach him like what's so great about this hobby. So I bought this. It was cheap. It was $15 because it was Fast and Furious. It was Paul's car, the Supra, and he wanted me to make it purple. So I don't know if you can show that picture, Paul. I don't know. I posted in the private chat. Like I put recent hobby projects.
Oh, private chat. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, had a private chat. I clearly. Hold on. There we go. Hold on. Now I can go share screen. And it's going to be.
I shared the Citadel maps.
Photos. There it is.
And there's the car. I painted him a car, and now it's all beat to shit, and it looks awesome because like he plays with it so much. But
that's awesome.
That's the best part. But click the next photo and like a couple more, and like you can see the back and keep going.
Dude, that freehand, or at least I assume it's freehand on the stars, looks awesome.
It's a mix. Like that was all freehand, the back, like the lights and stuff. But like the top was mostly like masking and airbrushing.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get into the process, but basically I taped it off and airbrushed it and then freehand the rest. That anything that wasn't purple or yellow, right?
Yeah.
But overall, like the painting process was pretty painless. Stripping the factory paint, though, it was a nightmare. Probably took me like 8 hours of just sanding this stupid Fast and Furious car until it was pure white. But in the end, he was happy and like he got to see like, the hobby and he kept asking me about, is it purple? Is it purple? And then I brought it upstairs. I brought the shell upstairs and I showed him, and he's like, it's yellow. It's purple. There's stars. He's just so excited. I'm like, yes, this is what I want.
Nice.
So it was a big win for me.
Awesome. So I got like a couple of things this week, but I'm just gonna go with the inspiration from Spearhead coming out. So my daughter has already expressed lots of interest with Warhammer. I've played a few games of Warcry with her. I've started to teach her Age of Sigmar, and we haven't like done actual gaming like that in a little bit. But she's been working with me on a new display board for my Maggotkin. And so then I heard about Spearhead. And my initial response to Spearhead was like, oh, this is just going to be another game that's going to just crash and burn. This isn't going to be a thing. Then the rules started rolling out for it. And I realized what it's going to be great for. And that is picking up something and playing with your kids. And it's going to be a little bit of a simplified version of the game. Somebody's echoing, by the way. I don't know who it is. Yep. And that made it go.
Megadeth.
Yeah.
Not him.
So I realize I'm like, oh, this can be how I get her into Warhammer. This is how we really pull her in. So I talked to my wife. I'm like, look, new game concept for Warhammer's coming out. It's a scaled down version of the game. You just basically buy one box of models and you play with that. And I'm like, are you cool if I just let Cadence pick one? And we go and we'll learn the rules together. We'll go, I'll help her paint stuff, learn all the painting and everything because she loves artistic stuff anyway. So then we sat down, we went through every single like Vanguard and Spearhead box on the GW store, looked at every single one, talked about what each army was, looked at all the models, and like picked out the ones that she thought was interesting, slowly narrowed it down. So tentatively, she's going to be picking up a Nighthaunt army, which I was shocked at. I did not think a 9-year-old girl was going to go Nighthaunt, especially mine. Like, I thought for sure it was going to be something like Seraphon or maybe Daughters of Cain because it's girl army, or I think those were probably the top two that I would have thought that she would have gone for. Never in a million years would I thought like she wants a bunch of ghosts. And on top of that, it's great because that's an army that you can paint really well without, or not paint it well, but you can have it look really good without needing a lot of talent and expertise to make it look good. Like if I just prime them and then do like Zenithal on it and then she hits them with contrast, those will look amazing. And it'll get it on the table. She'll be ready to go. So my goal, if I can make all of this work, is next year, 2025, I want to have her ready to go for being my partner for Holy Havoc. I was inspired by Tom Lyons, Warhammer Weekly. Say he's bringing his 14-year-old son this year to partner with him. I'm like, no, we're gonna up this game. I'm gonna bring her at 10. And she's gonna house all of you people. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So we haven't run out and bought models yet, but we are, because I want to make sure that's like really the army that she wants. Maybe go through stuff again, let her sit down and think about it for a while. But yeah, I'm pumped. Like she's like excited for an army. And then when I told her that like, oh, the Mortarch, the leader of this army, is a woman, she's like, oh my God, really? That's awesome. So yeah, I think she's gonna need Lady Olander pretty quickly. And yeah. So that's what I got. That's
I can just picture you just bend over and be like, "Here, let me show you how to do blood splatter." Yeah.
Yeah, let's do some. We want some extra blood effects on their sides. They want to make it look like they've got some nice fresh blood on there, but you need some old dried blood too, and that's going to have a more of a brown color to it.
You guys may know this, but can I give you a blood tip?
Sure.
Mix it with mineral spirits, and then so you mix say blood for blood god with mineral spirits, and what it does, it doesn't congeal, it doesn't mix, and then if you splatter it and then you add a little bit of water and touch it, it'll give model size specks, and it'll run properly on a model rather than it just looking like you globbed it on.
Okay.
That's a grimdark. So I paint in the grimdark style, or try to. And that's like a grimdark compendium thing. Zach Castigoon does a great job, and he showed me that. And then once I learned that, everything changed for my blood splatter. You know, I'm like, oh man, this is it's going on everything.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my little tip of the day.
Mineral spirits and blood for the blood god.
Yeah. The for anybody watching, I have actually changed up what I use instead of blood for the blood god. I have found something better. It's one of the Proacryls, and I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's from one of the signature series. It's like dark crimson or something like that, but it's a gloss, and it has the same look as like blood for the blood god, but it goes on much more nicely. So that's where I've been at recently with that, to get that nice, shiny, fresh blood look.
You know, it's funny. My style is completely the opposite of yours. Mine is like a cartoon.
Well, I suck ass at painting, so like the grimdark. I shouldn't, and this is not a knock at the grimdark style. Like the grimdark style is much easier for me because I do stuff to it. You know, it's like I'm into the effects. I'm into the rust. I'm into the, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I think there's a on the. I'm trying to find the video of the Lady Lander from Grimdark Compendium on YouTube. It might not be on YouTube anymore. It might only be in the website. I think it is, but there's. Yeah.
What is Grimdark Compendium?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna educate you tonight.
I am in the process of subscribing to this channel right now.
Yeah, dude.
I'm looking at it right now.
So he just came out with enamel inks, and they need some work, but they can be effective if you thin them down. And I got the whole line of them, and I'm just like playing with them on this and that. It's a cool little thing. And the little website's like $8 or $9 a month. And they have all kinds. A guy that actually got me into the grimdark painting was called Gravehammer, and he did a lot of interesting Zinch models that like were purple and they weren't your traditional things, and so that introduced me to streak and grime. And Gravehammer is just like a huge influence. Except he stopped a couple years ago, never to be heard from again. And it's a shame because like I loved his Zinch models and how he wound up doing them. Now I know he has a tutorial as he says because he's from Finland. But yeah, no, there's great stuff. Anytime you want to look up just interesting painting or different styles, Grimdark's definitely for those that want to try something a little different.
Yeah, I keep
it's almost
like
completely technique based.
Yeah.
I kind of keep trying to do grimdark stuff and then end up just kind of back to my standard style. I don't know. I gotta learn more things. I'm just constantly learning with painting and coming up with new stuff to try out. But I've got some ideas for Nova this year for Capital Palette. I really want to enter some things in that. And I've got an idea for like a diorama that I I don't know how well it's actually going to I don't know how well I'm going to be able to execute it, which is making me think I need to practice on a lot of models with the paint scheme first. Because I'm thinking of doing like a synthwave style, which is, it seems really hard to execute it well. Initial things look more like the Tron sort of end of synthwave, which honestly could be cool. Actually, do I have a model like right here that I can grab? No, I do not. No, those got put away. But yeah, just kind of painting it in really like dull muted tones and then doing like really bright edge highlights. Looks super cool. But the basic idea of the diorama is basically inspired off of Goth Rocker, having him be the lead singer of a band and have him a noise marine and then an orc war chanter and build him out a drum kit in front of him out of bits. So like just like scraps that he's stolen from everywhere, like using like shields for his cymbals and like barrels for drums and like stolen musician drums, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's going to take a lot of work. So it might not actually be this year's Nova, but it's going to be a process.
It's always a process.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm doing my leaping Scar brand where he's got both axes and he's like going like this, right? And I'm gonna have the wings spread out, and like modifying Scar brand is just so much effort that like I'm nowhere close.
Turn them into a Mega Gargan. I did a corn Mega Gargan with all his bits. I loved it. Had a great time. And if I'm allowed back on this, I'll talk about Gargants pretty much every time because I've done 27 of them.
Oh my god!
Just like different styles, different themes. You know, that's my jam is the converting new Gargants.
That is 4,000 in Mega Gargant. $4,000 in Mega Gargants.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? Not necessarily that much, because aren't there like multiple like torsos and lots of arms and stuff like that?
There's one torso.
Like just
There's one parallel. There's one torso, one parallel. So it's funny. My most recent one were Skaven themed, and I got 2.5 of them, 2 full ones and a half body for like $150. And so I was like, "What the hell am I going to do with the half body?" So I said, well, Skaven pop out a hole, so I made a gnaw hole, and the Gargant was popping out of it. You know, one of the Gatebreakers, and then covered the rest with rocks and everything around his belly, so you didn't notice he didn't have any legs. You know, and then the money, and instead of the Man Crushers, I did what are the Skaven, the 3 Skaven guys with the various weapons? I forget what the hell they're called.
Vermin Lords.
Yep. No, they come in a box, 3 for 1. It doesn't matter. I use
the Storm Fiends.
Storm Fiends, yes. Yeah, so I use 3 Storm Fiends and a Doom Wheel as my 4 baby Gargants to save money, so I didn't have to buy 4 megas. And I hate the little baby megas. They're
ugly.
The worst. Yeah. Man Crushers are terrible. They're awful. So anything
just,
other than
just to paint, or like in terms of the rules? Just
the paint. They're a pain in the dick. Like it's
like
I just don't like it because they have like this ass, this saggy ass that hangs out.
Yeah.
And I can't do it. So I painted his pants, and then I'm like, this looks stupid. And then I throw it up against the wall, and then I go figure out something else.
Oh. Baby Gargants.
I just painted one for Old World, and I converted one for my Maggotkin, just because I could. Like, I bought one of like the dual kits, like the kit that comes with 2 of them. That I don't think they're like actually selling that anymore, because it's like there's like the bundle now is just here's 3 individual ones for the cost of 3 individual ones. But there used to be a box of 2 that was a lot cheaper, and I found one on eBay for like less than the original MSRP. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna scoop this up just for bits, and then I ended up building both of them anyway. But I have all the bits.
Make like a really tall, greater, unclean one, and like mix them.
I made I just converted hell out of one of them to be basically just Nurgle mutated Gargant, and was just going to use like the Beast of Chaos Gargant rules. But now it looks like we're not going to have those anymore after about a year or so. So I don't know.
They're discontinuing the Beast of Nurgle?
Beast of Chaos.
Oh, Beast of Chaos. Yeah. I mean, I feel bad, but at the same time,
yeah, I mean, that line was either going to get a total refresh or get dumped.
Yeah.
And clearly the choice was dump.
Yeah.
But at this point, with the Skaven line getting refreshed, what old stuff is even still there that hasn't really gotten a full refresh yet? It's like ogres, so obviously they're probably next. And the old dark elf stuff is all still hanging out there, but it's part of Cities of Sigmar, so that got a recent refresh as well. Other than that, there's like nothing from like 8th edition back that's really left that they haven't gone through the line and refreshed stuff, right?
Yeah, I can't think of anything. I mean, I look at the Beast stuff, and I think, I mean, it's been talked about to death, but I think the choice really was between Skaven and Beastmen. Yeah. And you can't get rid of the Skaven because the Skaven are like the comic relief of Age of Sigmar. So it's just like the Beastmen aren't very funny. So like you gotta have the Skaven.
Yeah, and I feel like they never really worked them into the stories very effectively.
No.
Yeah, they just yeah, I mean, I feel like the writing's been on the wall for 10 years that army was eventually going to get discontinued, and it took till now, and it's finally happening. But I don't know. Tom, is that one of the many armies on your shelf, Beasts of Chaos?
Hell no. They were so fucking ugly that I couldn't do anything with them. I painted a Doom Bull for somebody for a present when it was metal a couple years ago, but no.
Ew, brother. Ew.
No,
that's all I can hear. Ew, brother.
They have no pizzazz.
I'm looking at Big Sexy. The reason I didn't think ogres was because they just released a bunch of new ogre kits back to back. So I was just like, ogres are here to stay, and there's so much like overlap in like the flavor of Beast of Chaos and Skaven that I really thought the choice was between the two.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, and it just,
but Skaven's really the one of the two that has way more of its own like unique identity.
Yeah, it's also got like a bunch of sub factions that are very like distinguishable.
Yeah,
so
it also very distinctly an Age of Sigmar thing, right? Like I feel like Age of Sigmar is some level above high fantasy in terms of like, you know, there's like the low fantasy stuff that's like Harry Potter, and high fantasy is like Lord of the Rings. And then this is like super high fantasy, like go get high fantasy. Is it
get a drink?
Yeah,
smoke some weed, play the game.
Go. It's like watching the Lord of the Rings on acid. So anyway, that's it. Skaven just fits right in with the whole like if Caradron overlords are a thing in Age of Sigmar, then absolutely you need the evil version of that, right? Like the crazy rats with their contraptions that don't work.
Yeah. So speaking of KO, right before they got hit with the points increase,
Yeah.
I got a great deal and bought like 5,000 points of them. And then I didn't realize how hard they were to play. So
Yeah.
I painted them up, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. Painted them up in like 2,000 points in like a week. Was pumped. Went to the tournament, got smashed, and was like, oh, this fucking sucks. And they've been sitting downstairs. So if you want to buy one, before you go out and buy a KO army, hit me up. They are priced to move.
Yeah.
So
I started a KO army a while ago.
okay.
And I'm the sort of player that like I love the kind of like the weird stuff that KO can do. Like all of like the combinations of stuff. Like they're very like orthogonal to the rest of how Age of Sigmar works. And that's the stuff that I love. What killed me though was painting those models. I could not do it. It destroyed me. I just did not like what they were going to do play wise enough to put up with painting an entire army of that.
Grimdark. Put rust on them.
Yeah, I only like the balloon guys. Everyone else to me was kind of whatever. It's just another dwarf in armor.
Yeah, it just looks like a 40k army.
Yeah. But of course, it's like the polar opposite of Khorne. it's the polar opposite of a lot of Age of Sigmar.
Yep. But I think that's why it fits in so well, is that it's like Age of Sigmar is just this aesthetic that's full of all of this wacky off the wall shit. And it feels like we're just continuing down the rabbit hole of crazy. And like that's like the identity they've come up with. They went from like in the old world, it was like borderline not even really high fantasy. And now it's like the total opposite. Like we're going to go create new stuff. We're going to have these insane IP elements and just run with it. What? Who's in whose bathroom? What the hell?
That's the Chaos Hobbit.
I don't know who that is, and I feel like I probably should. All right,
I love the name. The handle on that user is awesome.
Yeah.
Especially considering what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like that, like having giant hairy feet is something that would be like one of Slaaneish's blessings. Feels very Slaaneshi to me. Somebody's just into those.
I'm sure there's a kink out
me
there.
On Facebook.
Somebody's paying for big hairy feet.
You?
Yeah. Somebody's throwing down $1 for big hairy feet, so it probably is a Slaanesh thing.
Yeah.
So, some genius has cornered the market.
Well, it's funny. Like we were talking about earlier, where I sit in the living room in my recliner and paint, and when I take work in progress shots, my feet are up on the recliner. So all my buddies are like, "Yo, let me get some more of them feet pics." And so I actually got self-conscious about it, and so I hold them up now and take pictures like with the background of the ceiling, because like my boys, I don't know what they're doing with my feet, but I wasn't getting paid.
Yeah, go start that OnlyFans.
Yeah, times are tough.
Everybody's pulling back some skin to your feet.
Yeah, man.
I've kind of put a pin in Age of Sigmar until the new version comes out. Like I'm really excited, and but at the same time I'm a little bit cautious because I'm seeing all these new war scrolls, and one of the things I really like about Age of Sigmar today is like what Paul was saying, where like every army just feels so distinctly different and special. And I think it like gets people really addicted to just the entire game. There's not one army in this game that's just made as an all all-comers army. Like every army is like, it's got its fans, right?
Yeah.
It's why it's so egregious when they killed off the Beastmen.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Because for how lame anybody here thinks they might be, there are people out there that are all about it.
They got a tattoo on the back of their head, you know. They're so stoked for Beastmen. And yeah, I feel bad for those people, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely concerned about like whether or not they can maintain the identities of these unique and flavorful armies with all of this standardization, because standardization is just so awesome, but sometimes if you lean into it too hard, it can make things feel very samey. And right now, age does not like. I have yet to play against an army where it's like, oh, I'm playing against Army X. Well, they're just like playing against Army Y. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Age of
so-
Sigmar does that very, very well.
Yes.
And I think for the old world, part of the reason why they cut it down to 9 armies is because too many of them were samey.
Yeah.
You know, like dark elves versus high elves, they're just dark elves are just dark mirror of high elves.
Right, they're just a different color.
Yeah, they're like, I don't mean to. I'm sure that I'm going to get the actually from old world people when I say that, but they like gameplay wise, they just don't seem that different from high elves. They're heavy metal high elves. And that's it to me. Like, and then how different are vampire counts from Tomb Kings? I mean, they like way back in the day, they used to be the same army, and they split them.
Yeah, and I think now like Night Hunt has a very unique identity to the vampires, and the vampires and Night Hunt have a completely different identity than that of like OBR. And they've got these like really clear delineations between even Flesh Eater Courts. Like all 4 of those armies have very clear representation in what they do and how they like achieve success. But like when this game first came out, like all the Death armies kind of just felt similar and boring, and like over time they've all evolved. And again, it's just my biggest concern with this new game. Like everything I've seen, I'm like so stoked. Like even today's article was great. What the hell was it? It was about terrain, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea that like you have abilities tied to terrain that are just like everything else, where it's like, oh, I can do this at the beginning of every turn. I can get a bonus. You know, this arcane terrain effectively can be used to pump up priests now too. Like that's a huge deal. So now it's not just about me sitting there going, I don't want you to have this. It's me going, I want this, and you want it too. Like and the terrain maps allow us both to like find pieces of terrain like that, so we can kind of like they showcased the what was the map they showcased, like the pincer map there. I can't remember the name, but basically on the map, like the terrain was relatively even, and the places of power were in similar locations on each side. So we all know that when we go into that map, our priests are going to be here, or our wizards are going to be here. And the other thing that's unique is like, I don't know if they stated in the article, but can multiple priests use this place of power? I don't know. Yeah. Can multiple wizards use it? I don't know.
So what makes you concerned that it might be too samey?
Anytime you sit there and like you standardize things, like they have those abilities on the War Scrolls, like first strike first, right? Like
like universal special rules, you mean?
Yeah, like universal special rules. You run into this like issue where the version of strike first for our Army A might vary slightly from Army B, but because like they have these special keywords now, like sometimes game developers will say, well, you know what? It's effectively the same thing, so make them both the same, right? But it's not the same thing because Army A is a completely different army, and they have all the things that coincide with Army A, and Army B is a completely different army. They have all the things that coincide with it. So, like Bloodletters might, uh, or sorry, Skull Reapers, for example, they have what is it, crits, and they do
Yeah.
mortal wounds today, but they do those in addition to their regular hits, so they actually get like a lot more value off their attacks than Bloodletters do. Bloodletters they have their own varying reasons why they're good. But in the end, those like that variety like kind of sets them apart. It gives them a unique flavor. And I'm definitely concerned that like with all this standardization, we lose a lot of that flavor, and potentially like some RVs become obviously more efficient, and people gravitate towards them more quickly. So like the meta potentially gets solved more quickly. It's a concern I have with standardization in general. And I haven't seen any of the faction focuses yet. They're not out, so I'm not like upset or anything like that. It's just like I can't wait to see what they release, because everything else has been so good that if they manage to nail that aspect, I think this edition is going to be like leaps and bounds better than previous editions, like twice as good minimum, maybe 3 times better.
Yeah. I think what it looks like with the universal special rules that they're doing to me is that they're taking all of those rules that were already really similar and they're just distilling them down into one keyworded thing. Because like mortal wounds on 6s to hit or things happen on 6s to hit was just such a common thing. And now they're just putting like keyword crit and then whatever it does. I think it just distills it down so that it's easier to learn. And it might take some of the flavor off like around the edge, but I think the core of the flavor is still going to stay there because you're still going to have each army having their own unique special rules.
Right.
And that's the thing that really divides it. I can tell you from playing like Old World and having played Warhammer Fantasy, back in the day, that I think Old World has like 120 something universal special rules, if I'm remembering correctly. And even with that insane level of universal special rules, every army still feels very unique because of the way those special rules are combined.
Okay.
And each army also having their own special rules that just don't blend into anybody else. So I think it's that they're shaving off the stuff that just makes it too much. Like you can have a distinct flavor without every single little thing about the army being unique.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. It's like, will it create a unique enough flavor for me to say, I feel like I'm playing Khorne, right? Or will the armies be like, oh, that's just Khorne with extra steps? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want the latter. I want so badly for every single army to be its own little universe, because that's what makes this game so great. The fact that the fact that I hate them because I don't like playing Age of Sigmar that way is amazing. It's awesome. Like you can't have a game like if every army was loved by everyone, it wouldn't be a good game. Like they would all be the same, right? It's awesome that I hate them because somebody else out there loves playing that way and hates playing the way I do. But we can both play together.
Yeah. Tom, how are you feeling about the reveals for the new edition so far? You're muted, by the way. You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I've been sitting there talking to myself the whole time, wondering why you assholes haven't responded.
I thought you were talking to your wife.
No. She's upstairs, and we don't talk much anyway. Anyways, it's I've really been digging the new Skaven models for sure. The rules, I think, are what we need at this time. I think, in my opinion, they're streamlined. It's something that I need. So I have a lot of serious traumatic brain injuries, a lot of concussions from my athletic days, and so I don't really remember a lot of things, and so I have little cheat sheets that I take to tournaments. Front and back. My wife laminates it because I'm a slob, and just spill beer on it and everything. You just wipe it off. And so it's nice to me, and the Skaven models as a whole are exciting because it's something that I've done once, but not. I refuse to do horde armies because usually the sculpts are very similar and poses are very similar. So I'm excited about the new thing. I'm excited about the Giselles. The rules for the Giselles are very solid, 2s and 2s and 2 damage. So I'm looking forward to that. My buddies want me to do a Skaven army. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited for it. And I'm kind of like Mighty Dad here, where I don't know if I want to play until 4th, but with ACO being an event that a lot of my friends are going to from the Philadelphia area, we're gonna give it a go. 2 years ago, I went 1-4, so that's the reason why. Yeah, I think that's the reason why I got Player's Choice, because I was so pissed off that one of the guys jokingly said, "You got this, so you wouldn't kill us all." And so I just said, "Well, thank you. I'll take my Archeon model, which ironically was donated by one of my best friend's stores because certain people don't provide prize support at big paying events. But that's another lesson. That's another session we'll have to talk about.
Yeah, I will say if you don't have reasonable prize support at an event, I mean, it is. I run these things regularly, and it is effort on the the tournament organizer part, but it's these companies out there. They are chomping at the bit to get their product out in front of players, and if you don't have reasonable prize support, you're not trying. It's all I can say about TOs. Like I'm cold calling, cold emailing companies left and right. And for Golden Sprue, I had probably around $4,000 worth of product to give away to people. And it was stuff that I never bought, like game mats, game pads. Companies will give you discounts, custom objective markers. Iwata gave us like tons of paint. Chayama gave us tons of paint supplies, paint brushes. You can get it's not GW product that you can get easily because GW is kind of got their stranglehold on like who they want to sponsor, and like they're very concerned about their image and like who they're providing their goods to because they're such a large company at this point. But man, there's just so much good product out there that we were able to deliver to our players, but it barely cost us anything. And it was just because me and several other people in our group were pushing for product. So if you ever see a tournament where there's not good enough prize support, I mean, you just got to let them know. Like they just need to make the calls.
Yeah. That year, had it not been as a shameless plug from my buddy's store, but Palladium Games in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, They
Go
hold
play
monthly
these games.
Yeah, had it not been for Mike DeChico, there wouldn't have been shit for prizes at ACO 2 years ago. Mike gave him about $1,000 worth of product just to hand out because he felt he was embarrassed, and him and Marty are good friends. And so Mike said, "Hey, Marty, you need some stuff," and Marty said, "Sure." And then Mike came through. So I go up to I live in Maryland, but I still drive up to Palladium once a week to play on Friday nights or go to their tournaments once a month.
Is it a bookstore? Is it Palladium?
No, man, it's a game store. Palladium Games.
Well, post
it's in Phoenixville, PA. It's a nice store. He just moved to a bigger store, and he just ordered $40,000 in product. So his store is stocked now.
Jeez.
Well, post a link or something. I don't care about. I mean, I don't think you care either, Paul. I'm all for supporting stores that support the player base. We've got one up here in New York called Flipside Gaming. And they did the same thing as Palladium Games. They gave us around $1,000 in product. And quite frankly, GW I'm pretty sure that the way it works is that GW offers so much in reimbursable marketing product. So a lot of these stores have a budget where they can reach out to GW and say, how much product they use to market GW goods. It depends on the contract they have with GW, but effectively what happens is Flipside just gives us whatever marketing budget they haven't used, and that's what we provide to our players. It's pretty cool.
That's
Palladium.
Flipside also awesome. If you buy from them on eBay, their prices are always good and they ship really fast. Nice. I have accidentally bought from them so many times, and they're one of the best eBay retailers that I've ever bought from.
Yeah, one thing
I buy from them all the time, and I don't even need to.
One thing that's great for me, because I go through Army so fast, is I'll give Mike a buzz. But I got 4 armies sitting on it. What do you want to buy this week? He'll buy an army, give me store credit, and then I'll buy my newest army or order stuff for me right away. So it's a nice little gig. And we've been friends for a long time. So you going to bed? Deuces. Good talk.
Yeah. Also, just want to give a shout out real quick to somebody that's actually sponsoring the channel now. Dice Tray Depot. You'll see a link down there somewhere, probably. If I did my job correctly. I
saw it earlier.
I've gotten multiple dice trays from them. He sponsored the boys at least once, maybe twice. Sending out dice trays. They're just high quality dice trays with whatever you want on them. As long as it's a design that is not insanely busy, and really highly detailed. If it can be 1 or 2 colors, does an amazing job. They look so cool. They look like they're official GW product, but they're not.
Nice.
And if you want your club logo, your event logo, whatever, just get in touch, do custom stuff. It's awesome. So link down in the description to them, and I got I think a 15% offer or a discount code in there too.
Sweet.
And their stuff is not expensive to begin with, so definitely awesome. I basically decided that I just need a unique dice tray and unique dice for every one of my armies, just to be that guy. So gonna start working through them. I got my Maggotkin. I've got my Slaves to Darkness / Warriors of Chaos. So I'm gonna need a Skaven. I'm gonna need an Empire / Cities of Sigmar. And then who knows what I'm doing next for an army.
Right on.
Yeah.
I'll always just play Khorne. That's I'll just keep buying Khorne minis like a psycho.
One day we'll get you to start a new army.
No, it's not.
So I played Khorne last year for a little bit. Darren Watson out of the UK got me playing, and we did the 4 Bloodthirster list. and it was just brutal, and it was so much fun. And I finished up a tournament, went 4-1, and somebody offered me a bag for the Army that I painted up, and I'm like, okay, I can do it again.
What did they offer you?
Money.
Oh,
good money. A bag.
I thought you meant like they traded
a grocery bag.
A bag. I'm like, what?
Yeah, a bag. Sorry, I'm down with the lingo.
You must have been so shit-faced.
Yeah.
I was just assuming it was a whole lot of cocaine. That's
duffel bag full of beers.
Those were the days, brother. Now I'd probably just my heart would explode.
Yeah.
So
you can't have the amphetamines and the depressants. You got to pick one or the other.
Yeah. But
all right, guys. So we've been going for like an hour and a half, and that is pretty good for our not having had our proper subject for the evening actually being there. So I think unless you guys got anything else at the moment, I think we can just kind of sign off from here so we can all go to bed, because I'm sure we all have to get up early in the morning for kid shit.
No,
and,
you just stay up. My online persona is insomniac painting, because I fucking stay up for 2-3 days and then I crash for a day.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man.
No.
It's just one of those things. Mental illness is hilarious.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, it's been fun, guys.
Thank you, Paul. Hey, thank you very much for all this. It's great.
Yeah.
Hope to do it again real soon. Maybe when they actually do have a show.
Yeah. Right.
We could pop on and talk about it.
All right. Yeah, I'm down. It was nice to meet you, Tom, and thanks for hosting, Paul.
All right.
All right. Be good.
You're welcome, guys. Thanks for being here. As always, we will see you all later.
All right. Dad's out.
Peace.